Well, hello there. Hope you're having a great day, and welcome to another edition of Music Monday. I am your host, Nicholas Thompson. Here you can find excellent recommendations for your excellent taste. I will be talking about and reviewing music that I've listened to from the previous week. I'll be talking about the classic King of the Hill rock and roll tunes, the Stetson wearing country western, and the ever-going and nice relaxing tunes of R&B, or rhythm and blues as some of you might know it as. Now, less talking, let's move on to the recommendations. Let's start with a hit out of the park with Walks by Aerosmith from 1976. If you ask me, the prime era of gritty rock and roll from its roots, from the best era, I would say it's between 1972-ish to 1979. Not 1980, 79. That's like the golden era. And I think this is a prime example of great rock and roll. It's from one of the best rock and roll bands that's considered in the world. And also, it's just a great album. I enjoyed some of the songs. And also, this is a prime era of, I would say, from Aerosmith, from 76 to 79. That's where they made most of I think, that brilliant stuff and the greatest stuff. Of course, the first couple albums were great, but they were just getting off on the start in the beginning. But when they get into the groove and the rhythm of being a band, this is a prime example of that. With Steven Tyler as the lead vocalist, Joey Perry as lead guitarist with Brad Whitford, and Tom I can't say it. I'm writing this on a title card. And Joey Kramer as drummer, just adds to this point. This is the best era, I think, of Aerosmith, and I've listened to some of the albums and some of the music from 70s to early 90s, and I think this is one of the best works. As considered as a successor to Toys in the Attic, they've stated, and I would say that this and Toys in the Attic are really good together as a tempo and the movements and how the rhythm of the music goes. I think if you listen to Toys in the Attic and this, it's a great collaboration. And also, this also was influenced. I think Joey Kramer stated that what helped them make this album was they were taking a lot of drugs and substances, which he says if they didn't take the music and the songs they wrote, wouldn't they have the grittiness as what they would have? And I would say that if you don't something have something that makes you unique, they would consider like the bad boy bands of the 1970s, like Rolling Stones paved the way. And I think Steven Tyler is a way better vocalist compared to Mick Jagger. That's why I like this. Also, what I like about some of the songs, my three favorite songs is "Last in the Child," which has a great drum playing, "Wax in the Cellar," which has great guitar playing, and "Combination," I think it's called, takes both of them and like it makes a great song. And every song on the album has something unique. Either the vocals are good, the guitar playing is good. Each song has something special and got a great story to tell. Also, this reached in top 500 rock and roll. This was in the top 500 best rock albums, and it made 366, which I think is pretty good. And I just think this is an excellent example of like gritty classic rock and roll. If you want to get into rock and roll bands, this is a great start. And just again, I really just enjoyed listening to this, and it's just nothing to compare with. This is one of my favourites from what I've listened to in the week. So yeah, let's move on to the next recommendation. Since we were just talking about rock and roll, I think it's a great transition talking about Foo Fighters' newest album, But Here We Are, which is their 11th album, and I think a key example of modern rock and roll and showing what bands like Aerosmith and Rolling Stones, what they were building the foundations of what rock and roll as a genre was, and Foo Fighters take that and goes with it and makes something with the foundations what rock and roll bands have tried to picture. So yeah, this is the 11th album again. I really enjoyed this since it was my first chance to listen to their songs and the type of music first time properly on an album. And I also did not know that this is the first album where they did not perform with the uh, lead drummer, who was Tyler Hawkins, who sadly passed away last year, which affected the band dramatically. And with his passing, the lead singer Dave Grohl decided to take his place as lead drummer and lead vocalist, which I think is very respectful since they were close friends. Also, the rest of the band is back. Pat, Romain, Chris, and Nate. They're all back to the key place, and this also represents for the band, since the passing of the fellow brother drummer. This album represents the future of Foo Fighters, since this album represents their next step of being a band, being artists, and the next part in their career. And I just also like the album cover, which took influence from the Beatles, with the white album, which the Beatles done. I think this looks very similar. And this is a follow up to Medical at Midnight, or Medical at Midnight, I think it's called. One of my favourite songs on here is Hearing Voices, which I really enjoyed. I just enjoyed. This is just a beautiful. It's just a beautiful band. I'll get it. I'll just. There's no really a good, like, we have Aerosmith, or like the 70s. That's the era of rock and roll. This is, I think, for our generation, which this generation at this time, I think these singers in this band is this versions of great rock and roll. This rebel natured boys band or rock and roll band. This is our version of like our Aerosmith to our generation. I just really enjoyed listening to it. It was just brilliant stories told throughout the songs, and just a lovely listen. And let's move on to the next recommendation. Another lovely album that I've listened to is The Fool by Jane. This was a lovely album to listen to. It was just so peaceful and spacious, and it gave us a sense of peace and quiet and freedom, and so relaxing, and just that's the emotions that I felt whilst listening to it. Just so peace and relaxing, and I think that contributes to the songwriting, the songs that are in this, and the stories that it tries to tell, and it gives off a cosmic space explanation vibe with it. This is the artist's fifth album, and this is, I think, one of our highlighted hits, one of our great hits, one of our great albums. Some of my favourite songs in Marion, to all the people out there, is Cosmic Love. Also, what I think contributes to the greatness of this album is some individuals that involves, like keyboards, Johan Dalgas, drums, Matt Chamberlain, and bass guitarist Yodelis, and etc. I think if you have a great production and cast and crew behind you, it'll make the album even better. And I think this is a prime example of this. And I just really enjoyed listening to it. It was so just peace. It's just so relaxing to listen to it. Didn't give off bad vibes. It just enjoyable. Let's put it that way. Very enjoyable to listen to. And yeah, so let's move on to the next recommendation. Another amazing thing that I was listening to during the week is Pink Tape by Lil Uzi Vert. I can't describe. This is an amazing album. A brilliant remix and brilliant rapping techniques, and a great example of hip hop and rock rap, and just a mixture of all the great genres put together and make a great album. But at heart, it's a rapping album, and what I loved about this, it's got brilliant beats, and the artwork, which is by Ferris Kasuchi. Sorry about that. And I think, also like the album cover, which I don't talk about often, that shows the artist wearing an American jacket, wearing a jacket with the American flag but in pink, and behind him is the American flag in instead of blue and red bannered, it's pink and white bannered, which I think makes it that a little more special, that more cooler. Also, what I liked is this is that artist's third album, and I've listened to some of his work before this, and I think this is a great follow up from stuff that he's done prior, and this is his like his what do you call it, his diamond in the rough, and I think this is a great album. With also great production by bass guitarist Matt Keen, and Mitch Beer, and also I forgot to mention, but also it features a lot of well-known rappers who you might enjoy whilst listening to it. Features Baby Metal, Beyond, Bring Me the Horizon, who else? Terry Scott and Mickey. Was it Nicki? Nicki Minaj. Okay, and also some of the songs that I liked whilst listening to this, because some of their songs are just really good. I enjoyed it. Spin Again, Dead and Come Back, I Got It, and Werewolf, which is it features Bring Me Horizon. And one of the things that I noticed that I've heard about early reviews is this album has some satanic meaning behind some of the music and the album itself, since some of the stars are supposed to be the Star of David. But from what I was listening to, it does have some satanic references in that. But personally, it didn't overcompensate with all satanic messages and stuff like that. At heart, it was a brilliant example of rapping at its prime and at its best, and I just really enjoyed it. It was a great. I don't usually like rapping, but when it's done well and done great, it is excellent, and this is a great example. And I just like the album. It's just enjoyable. The remixing, the beats, the tunes, and the lyrics and the songs and the stories that it tells is just excellent, and 10 out of 10 for me. Now let's move on to the next recommendation. Another brilliant piece of music that I was listening to is Coil by Coil Away. I really enjoyed this album. I really enjoyed the I love the rhythm of the album, and I enjoyed the rapping and the remixing and things like that. And I just see whilst listening to it, you know when you listen to something, it's that good. You listen to it twice over. It's one of those albums that you could listen to it again and again, and uh, and that's what makes it great. And also the certain songs and the stories that they tried to tell, the emotional elements it features love and heartbreak and relationships, and that either that is an emotional relation or a physical relationship. And also this album represents it serves to be a follow up to her previous album, what is that, Trendsetter. And I think you listen to that and you listen to the go good together. If they wanted to do a like double feature, this they two are perfect with each other. Also on this album features some of her previous greatest hits and singles such as Players, Bops, My My Body, Want It Up. Also, what I really loved about this album is the remixes and the remasters of It's a Man's World and It's My Party, since it took these two famous and already excellent songs and remixed them and redo them, and not so much so that you can't that it's not the same work. It still pays tribute to the artists that done the work, but takes it into a modern approach, such as "It's a Man's World," which was performed by the Godfather of Soul, James Brown. That song was at its time a massive hit and still is. But if you listen to it now, it's a bit dated and it's a bit dated for our standards of how society is. And I like that Coil or Loe, she took the song and remastered it so we can understand where it was coming from, and took it into a different approach and made it made popular for a wider audience. With that, some of the songs that I didn't like is My Body and It's a Man's World. They are two of my favourite songs that I heard on this. Also, the individuals who appeared on this, such as Ga- Gazi, Lala Brooks, so, uh, Dave Gutter, and Stevie Scooter, whatever. Anyway, I think they, with those artists coming behind Coil Away and helping her make this album, makes it even that better. Since I think this is also a, collaboration of all her great work and all her efforts and energy and her passion for the music, and she put it all into this album. And I think she done an excellent job with this, and I just really enjoyed listening to it. And I don't know what it was that grabbed my attention about this album, but it's just there's something about it that it takes it out of the realm of stuff that you would listen to. It's not country. It's not R&B. It's not E-pop. It's not any type of genre. It's just good music, and I think that adds to its excellentness since it's just good music. It's brilliant music, and anybody can listen to it and enjoy it, I believe. So if you want to her try this out, go ahead. I think you will enjoy it. I have, certainly. So let's move on to the next recommendation. Another lovely thing I was listening to for this is The Good Witches by Maisie Peters. This was a wonderful album whilst listening to it. It's just beautiful to listen to, if I could describe it like that. With it's great vocals, nice remixing, with the remixing being very nice and very structured, and with I love the tunes also about this, and there was something about it that I just enjoyed listening to it, and I just enjoyed what it was and like what and just it's really just it's more story driven. I would say it has a story that it tries to tell. I think my understanding of what I've heard, I understand the story quite reasonably in what I could listen to. And the artist Maisie Peters has stated that uh, her influence for this was Greek myth- Greek mythology. Sorry about that. And like, let's listen to each song and each tune and each lyric. You can sort of hear that and hear the references and stuff like that for Greek mythology. Said it right. uh, this also represents her second album that she's released, and she's also stated that this is considered for her breakup album since she went through a breakup whilst making it and doing the songwriting. And the certain elements and vibes that you will recognize will be like a disco pop and a rock pop or pop rock elements of the genre. And I would say that you can hear that throughout the songs and the tunes that are played throughout. And some of my favourite songs that I've listened to this is Coming of Age, Therapy, and Human History of Man. Those are what I quite enjoyed listening to. And it was just beautiful to listen to. Also, what made this great was the production crew. That was Joe Rubel, Jack Geary, Christina Hauser, and Jessica Scott. I think with those individuals involved, with their talent and capabilities and experience, I think that what made this album very great and made it that good. And I just, whilst listening to this, you just sit back and enjoy what you're listening to. And I think that's how it should be listened to. Is how you should listen to it. Is to sit back, have something, and just like have a nice glass of milk or whatever, and just enjoy what you're listening to. And let's move on to the next recommendation. But again, I've enjoyed listening to this, so let's move on. My last recommendation is I would say is a good one, which is Chaos for the Flies by Gian Chatton. This was just this is a had again great vocals and had one thing that I picked up from listening to this. It had amazing, amazing but beautiful guitar playing, and just throughout each song you hear this guitar playing and how I and just it was brilliant. The guitar playing, it was very unique and very was when you listen to music like, throughout the week, you pick something up and you hear something that you didn't hear often. And from this, I picked up that it had really excellent guitar playing, and I think that just made I enjoyed it from that. But also, this represents his first ever album he has released. You also might know that you might know the artist since he is the frontman for Fontaine DC or Fontaine. I'm not sure if that's Fontaine or Fontaine DC. Please let me know. But he has stated that after having a hard schedule from touring with his band, he had the opportunity to do something new and get hands on with a new project. So he decided to pick to do a new something new and out of his realm of what he like what type of music he deals with. And I whilst listening to it, I would say it would be a mix of country and rock, like country rock. That's what I would best describe it. Also included this is some of his band members from Fontaine, including is it Dan? Was it Dan Colley and Tom Colley? And I think having his colleagues from his band helping him do this, not helping him, but be collaborated with him for this work, adds to this album's greatness, since it's better with a team than doing it alone, I would say. Some of my favourite, well, one of my favourite songs is Last Time, Every Time, Forever, which I don't quite understand what that's all about, but yes. Also, there's another song called The Source, I believe it's called, and I really enjoyed that. And also, the title is quoted by a famous, like, individual, like a poet, I believe, and it's supposed to represent some meaning, chaos for the flies. But yeah, but I really enjoyed listening to it. It's just a nice country and rock vibe that you get off of it. It's nice and relaxing. I personally was walking whilst going one of my walks whilst listening to this, and it was nice and peaceful listening to it, I would say, and I really enjoyed it. So that's it for the recommendations. Let's move on to the last part of Music Monday. Moving on to the last part of Music Monday, which is, of course, the album cover of the week and the song of the week. Now, let's start off with the album cover. So what I've done is took my favourite album cover from the stuff and music that I've listened to throughout the week. And there's a lot of contenders. There's Coil, there's The Fool, Pink Tape, and also Aerosmith's album looked pretty good. But I have to say, my favourite one was Pink Tape, and I just really enjoyed. It just looked pretty cool. I really liked the aesthetic of the album, since it shows the artist wearing an American a jacket with the American flag on it, but with painted decals on it instead of the red, white, and blue. It's dark, really dark navy blue, white, and pink. And behind him is the American flag with pink, dark blue, and white. And also, supposedly, this album had satanic meaning behind it. Supposedly, the stars in this album, where the 52 stars would be, he swapped them out for satanic stars of David, I believe, which I've looked at. They are different from the stars on the American flag, but I didn't get the reference on that. Anyway, last part of Music Monday, and that's the song of the week. And it was hard. I was listening to a lot of songs during this week, a lot of different, like what's the one of them? Like just lots of different tunes. But the one tune that I heard often that I really enjoyed listening to it just it tell a great story. Listen to it is "Vampire" by Olivia Rodriguez. I love this single since it tells. It was a simple concept. It was I think it was like a heartbreak or a breakup story, and you can hear that. It tells you the end of. It tells the story of an individual that's lost. It sounds like lost everything, just over the concept of a breakup, And you can hear that throughout the story and how the character and the individual, who I'm guessing is supposed to be Olivia, you can just tell the emotional heartbreak and sadness in the story. And I think that adds to the story's greatness. And that's what I enjoyed listening to. So that's it for Music Monday this week. Please keep up to date through subscribing. And if you want to hear more, please remember to hit that notification bell, like, and subscribe. And I just wanted to add a personal note for Music Monday. I was just received news today, Monday. Just received news that the legend that I talked about last Music Monday, Tony Bennett, my first recommendation, has sadly passed away over during this time. He died at the age of 96, and I think he's a great loss to the music industry, since he was the last of a golden era of jazz and swing jazz and modern jazz. And I think he'll be a loss to music lovers all around the world, since he kept the iconic day and age, the golden age of Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack, Sammy Davis, Dean Martin, all those, Andy Williams, that era of jazz, swinging jazz music alive. And it's just sad to see that an icon of his caliber has sadly went away, and he will be missed. And that's my last note. And I'll see you next week, hopefully, or whenever. Good day to all. I mean, goodbye.